Hey folks, we got to get serious for a second. Philip Seymour Hoffman, one of the best actors of his generation, died yesterday at the age of 46. Found dead in his apartment, a hypodermic needle sticking out of his arm.
You know, they said that they found several bags of heroin there. Now there's talk about prescription drugs, and it's just a mess. His life, for someone so talented, to hear that this is the way that he ends it, it's just heartbreaking. Joining us right now, Rob Shuter, the host of the Gossip Table on VH1, and also a special guest on Good Day New York. Nice to have you here.
Good to see you,
Good to see you. Now, you've met Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, several times. He was a gentle giant. People really, really loved this guy. He was very kind to people. He didn't have a huge entourage. You could see him walking around the village, Chelsea, where I live, often with his kids, always said hello to people, always signed autographs. I think that's why people are so shocked about this, because the signs were not there in the way that they might have been for someone like a Heath Ledger.
But the thing was, I mean, he went to rehab. There were reports he went to rehab last May.
Yes.
There are reports that he and his longtime girlfriend and 3 children, they moved out. No, he moved out of the house that they were living at three months ago.
Yes.
Could that have been a reason? The drugs, could that have been a reason?
He said that he had terrible, terrible troubles with drugs. He was clean for over 20 years, and then he admitted to going back on the drugs and snorting heroin. Within days of doing that, he said he went to rehab.
I know that's been publicly reported. I think he said to 60 Minutes that he was kind of an addict in his early 20s. But that's true. He did give it up for that long and just had a relapse less than a year ago. That's accepted.
Yeah.
Now, there are reports, Fox is reporting that possibly, I guess police are looking for the drug dealers, which makes sense.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, he's the type of guy that didn't have a huge entourage with him. He was really very self-sufficient. If you saw him in a restaurant or a bar in the West Village, he was by himself reading a book. He's got a cell phone, as we assume most people do. They're going to be able to go through that phone and find out all the numbers that he called, and one of those numbers might in fact be the person that delivered the drugs.
But he was not murdered here. I mean, he had an addiction, and clearly it would appear. And there's a supply. If there's a demand, there's usually a supply in this regard.
Well, there's talk about they're going to try to look at ATMs because they want to see the actual.
And New York City is covered with cameras. I mean, this was his home. He loved this city. If he went to an ATM or if he was on a street and bought drugs there was cameras in the building, so they will be able to find
Was it just heroin?
We don't know. I mean, normally heroin goes hand in hand with other pills that people seem to take, Oxycontin, Xanax, so they'll find all that in the apartment. The scene has been closed down and they're looking right now. There it is.
I saw the latest Hunger Games movie, I guess it was in November, and he made an appearance. I was surprised to see him, but that was his first. He's got a couple of more movies. I think his roles are already in the can.
Yeah, he's
already
finished,
shot.
Yeah, he's finished with the Hunger Games, so he shot those scenes. What was fascinating about him to a guy like me is he could do everything from blockbusters like The Hunger Games and Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise to these little arty movies, that one of which won him the Academy Award.
And he always kind of, he threw himself into these roles, and so different in every way.
He transformed himself.
But he did play troubled characters too.
I think this is the new movie. Is this God's Pocket? That's John Slattery from Mad Men. Oh no, Charlie Wilson's War.
Yeah.
Wow,
he was working on another. You're right, though, Greg. He was working on another movie with John Slattery.
And that was the last time we saw him. He was with John Slattery at Sundance just a couple of weeks ago, promoting this new movie that they're in together. It's finished. It's in the can. So that movie will be coming out soon.
Well, it's terribly sad. Again, 3 young children left behind. More later on Philip Seymour Hoffman. Rob, I hate to switch gears like this, but what did you think of the Super Bowl?
I thought Bruno Mars was fantastic. I didn't really know this guy. Like,
you didn't know him? He's had one hit after another.
He wasn't Beyonce. He wasn't Madonna. He wasn't Bon Jovi. He's one of the new sort of stars out there, relatively new, has a couple of hits out there. I think he went into the Super Bowl as a very, very accomplished performer. He came out a star. That wasn't true with Beyonce. She went in a star. This has changed his career, I think. I thought he was home run.
I thought it was home run too, and he had some great moves.
Great moves.
James Brown-esque.
Absolutely, but look at him. It's a guy and a microphone, and that's it. Very little production, not fireworks. Remember Madonna?
Well, he did have fireworks.
He did,
at the end.
but he wasn't a cast of 1,000 like Madonna carrying him on. This is a guy that stood in the centre of that stadium, sang, and we loved it.
Well, who are those guys? I was surprised. He had like a bunch of lookalikes, quite frankly, in the same.
You're right.
Right? They're all wearing the same jacket. I was like, wait a second, this is the Bruno Mars band?
It was like the Jackson 5s for a little bit, didn't it? That is his band, but he is the star of the band. It's his show. I think he did a great job. I could have done without the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, they kind of came in and
sort of wrap it away.
It was over and done with in about 20 seconds.
Yeah,
it seemed
and then
like.
once this kid sang, that's it for me. Like,
Yeah.
give me a great song, a great lyric, and someone that can sing. Forget the rest.
All right, don't go anywhere because we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Super Bowl, but we're going to take a quick little break, right?
Sounds good. Dr. Roz is coming up, some other stuff. Rob, we have more to do with you, so
stay
don't go
put.
far. Be right back,
Okay.
folks.